Have you ever pondered the weight of a single decision in the course of history? Imagine, if you will, the early 19th century, a period of empires and revolutions, a time when one man's ambition could tip the scales of power. In this era, Napoleon Bonaparte, the self-proclaimed Emperor of the French, made the fateful decision to invade Russia in 1812. But why, one may ask, did Napoleon, a military genius, decide to march his Grande Armée into the vast, cold expanse of Russia? What transpired during the Battle of Borodino, and what led to the infamous burning of Moscow? Let's delve into the annals of history to unravel this intriguing saga. The Battle of Borodino, fought on September 7, 1812, marked the deadliest day of the Napoleonic Wars. It was a contest of wills, a brutal struggle between two great powers, with neither side willing to yield. Napoleon, leading an army of 130,000 men, squared off against Russian General Kutuzov's 120,000 troops. Despite the disparity in numbers, the Battle of Borodino was far from a one-sided affair. The Russians, entrenched in their defensive positions, fought with a tenacity that surprised the French. After 12 hours of relentless fighting, the battlefield was strewn with the bodies of 70,000 men, a grim testament to the ferocity of the conflict. Napoleon had won a Pyrrhic victory. He had taken the field, but at a devastating cost. His Grande Armée was severely depleted, and the Russian army, though battered, remained a formidable force. Yet, the worst was still to come for Napoleon. Marching his weary troops towards Moscow, he anticipated a capitulation from the Russians. Instead, he was greeted by an eerie sight. The city, once bustling with life, was virtually abandoned. The Russians, in a scorched earth strategy, had set their beloved city ablaze. The burning of Moscow, a sight that sent shivers down the spines of the toughest French veterans. The Inferno raged for days, reducing the once magnificent city to ashes. Napoleon, holed up in the Kremlin, could do nothing but watch as his dreams of conquering Russia went up in smoke. The burning of Moscow marked the turning point of the Russian campaign. It was a symbol of Russian resistance, a message to Napoleon that they would not be easily subdued. With winter fast approaching and his army decimated by battle and disease, Napoleon was forced to retreat. The Russian winter, as unforgiving as the Russian resistance, took a heavy toll on his men. By the time Napoleon reached France, his Grande Armée was a shadow of its former self. The Russian campaign was a disaster for Napoleon. It marked the beginning of the end of his reign. The Battle of Borodino and the burning of Moscow serve as stark reminders of the cost of ambition and the unpredictable nature of warfare. One man's decision had indeed tipped the scales of power, but not in the way he had anticipated.